All right, I'll call the meeting to order. Jen, will you take roll call, please?
Commissioner Thill.
Here.
Commissioner Weyer.
Here.
Commissioner Waldner. Here. Commissioner Shaw.
Here.
Mayor Denner.
Here. We have the agenda in front of us. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So move. Second.
I got a motion and a second to adopt the agenda. Any further comments or discussion? Not hearing any. Jen, will you take roll call?
Commissioner Waldner. Aye. Commissioner Weyer.
Aye.
Commissioner Shaw.
Aye.
Commissioner Thill.
Aye.
Mayor Denner.
Aye. Under appearances acknowledgement, Jen, item number 1, acknowledge VFW Joker Run fundraiser for the Veterans Honor Park.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, you have as part of your packet a flyer as received per the request of Danny Frisbee Griffin on behalf of the local VFW. This is also backed by the advice of local attorney Jay Leibel and a couple conversations with him. There is codified law in South Dakota Codified Law, Chapter 22, that states an individual or group who wishes to conduct a raffle must give 30 days written notice of the time and place thereof to the governing body or designated administrative official of the county or municipality in which it intends to conduct the raffle. There are some exemptions to this. I did talk to Mr. Leibel about them. He still wanted this to come before you. Better safe than sorry. We want to bless and consider ourselves notified of the fact that the VFW will begin selling chances to the raffle. They're calling it a Joker's Run. It is similar to Chase the Ace, which we have all heard of. They will begin selling their tickets October 1st, 2020.
Did you need a motion?
Please, let's acknowledge it with a motion, please.
Do I have a motion to acknowledge the VFW Joker Run fundraiser for the Veterans Honor Park?
Second.
Any further comments or discussion? Not hearing any. Jen, will you take roll call?
Commissioner Shaw.
Aye.
Commissioner Weyer.
Aye.
Commissioner Thill.
Aye.
Commissioner Waldner. Aye. Mayor Denner.
Aye. Does anybody want to take anything off the consent calendar? Not, do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So move. Second.
Any further comments or discussion? Not hearing any. Jen, will you take roll call, please?
Commissioner Weyer.
Aye.
Commissioner Waldner. Aye. Commissioner Shaw.
Aye.
Commissioner Thill.
Aye.
Mayor Denner.
Aye. Not seeing anything under unfinished business. We'll move down into the new business. We have Jake on the line, and we'll have Chad here. Chad, you want to start the conversation on item number 1? Authorize the mayor to sign change order number 1, KLJ, National Sealant and Concrete, LLC, AIP 3-46- 0029-017-2019 rehabilitate remark runway 15-33 and turnaround.
Yeah, I can say a few words very briefly, and then I'll let Jake elaborate. If that's all right, Mr. Mayor. Included in the agenda packet are the change order. This is simply a 3-page document with a cover letter, that being the 4th page. This is the final change order for this project that just reconciles final unit quantities. This contract was set up such that the payment is based upon unit price bidding, and then the reconciliation thereof is what's included on this change order. It's a deduct of $7,431.90, and I'll stand by at this time and let Jake elaborate on that particular item if necessary, or if he wants to give just a brief synopsis of the project, how it turned out and such.
Yeah, thanks, Chad. The project went really well. The contractor, National Sealant and Concrete, were great to work with. They finished in probably half the amount of days that were allowed. They worked some really long hours and through the weekends, so I think the airport tenants were very happy about that because the runway was closed down for part of this work as well as the taxi lanes, so planes couldn't move in and out of the hangars during some of this. We did rehab the entire concrete pavement area on the whole airfield, and with new joint sealant and new random cracks, and then also just fixed any random pop-outs and some other items like that. And I think Chad basically nailed it on the head. It basically is reconciliation of the final quantities, which turns out to be that deduct of $7,431.90. And this will come along with the final payment. The acceptance will come after this change order, as well as basically the release of the contractor for final work. And there is have some substantial completion items, and then we'll be turning that in. But for this change order, this will be the final contract price here.
Thank you, Jake. Do I have a motion to authorize the mayor to sign the change order number 1, KLJ National Sealant and Concrete, LLC, AIP 3-46-0029-017-2019, rehabilitate and remark runway 15-33 and turnaround?
So approved.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Is there any further comments or discussion for either Chad or Jake? Not hearing anything. Jen, will you take roll call vote?
Commissioner Thorold.
Aye.
Commissioner Waldner. Commissioner Shaw.
Aye.
Commissioner Wire.
Aye.
Mayor Denner.
Aye. Item 2 is also Chad. Authorize the mayor to sign certificate of substantial completion, Helmy Inc., Water Main Improvement Project 2020-1, Division Avenue Water Main Street Surface.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Included, and members of the commission, members of the public, included in the agenda packet is the one-page certificate. This is a document that is outlined in the contract documents that is required to be considered by the owner, City of Madison, contractor, and then the engineer. This basically does among other things, sets the timeline for warranty work and so on. And then it basically acknowledges that the work is substantially complete, generally described as being able to be used as intended. There's some further definitions included in the contract documents that relate to that, but I won't get into those now. Generally, like I said, it just means it's functioning as intended. There was a site inspection accomplished that coincides with this substantial completion, and with a punch list was developed, and there's defects noted on that. Those are being worked on and part of this. There's some more than minor defects on the pavement surface that were noted on there. The contractor is aware of those. We expect those to be taken care of as prior to the final completion of this project, and certainly before all the funds are paid to the contractor. So that I just wanted to comment briefly on that as well, because that's pretty obvious if you've ever driven on that roadway. Some odd defects that we're working with some regional asphalt experts and such to get a handle on and come up with a plan and determine what the plan, I should say, determine what the plan of the contractor is to resolve those. So with that, I would recommend that this be approved. The substantial completion date is July 31st, 2020. That's when they completed the last, the granular placement was what the definition of substantial completion was on here. And they had a couple weeks to do the paving. That's now done as well. So
Thank you, Chad.
How
Do I-
much are you gonna hold back from them?
None of the asphalt's been paid.
Huh?
None of the asphalt has been paid yet. And so we'll continue to hold that until that issue is resolved. In other words, it's a unit price contract, and asphalt is itemized separately, and $0 of the asphalt has been paid.
Do you think,
Bob, can we get a motion
okay,
before we go on?
okay.
Please.
Sorry about that.
Nope. Do I have a motion to authorize the mayor to sign certificate of substantial completion, Helmies Inc., Water Main Improvement Project 2020-1, Division Avenue Water Main and Street Surface?
I'll make a motion, we approve it.
Second.
Okay. Go ahead.
Do you think that there's some problems underneath the first lift of the soil that came up through the blacktop that made it break apart and slide on us?
I believe that it's, the subgrade is sufficient for that roadway, and the primary issue there is it's called tack, it's the binder between the lifts is what the issue was. But that's what the contractor has the opportunity to further investigate at their cost, whether through its core, different testing methods and such, and they're pursuing that to try to make a more definitive determination of that, but preliminarily, it seems pretty clear that it's a tack issue.
How thick is that blacktop at that intersection?
4 inches.
Do you think that's thick enough for all them stock trucks coming in there like that?
Yes.
With the weight that they're carrying, you think 4 inches is enough?
Yes. It's at or more than what was there previous.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes?
Pat Mullen, representative from Oakwood East Condo Association. In regards to the gravel portion of Division Avenue, we feel that the grade was changed from what we had prior to at present. There was a notable drop from our area to the gravel. And it sure seems that we have lost a lot of elevation going to the road, number one. There's a number two issue that I would like to address. That would be for the electrical department, the foreman, and it doesn't go actually with this, so I may have to put that in the end of the meeting.
Yep.
But the grade on that road sure does not seem, to us anyway, that it was what we had prior to that work completion.
Any comments on that, Chad?
We've surveyed it before and after, and it was slightly different, but not too much. One of the other
Not
landowners
too
there.
much. You come out of that puppy now and you bounce yourself all over the place.
One of the other landowners had asked us a few questions about that, and we surveyed it. I'd have to look back, it's been a week or two since he's done that, but, yeah, we've been talking about that, and that's definitely something that can be addressed.
We will check into that. Okay, Pat?
Thank you.
Yep. Are you, just so I'm clear, is that on your road coming out?
From our driveway and back.
Oh, the driveway in the back.
Our garages are
Okay.
behind our units.
Yep, yep.
And that would be that area. And then I'll address I didn't get a chance to get on the agenda, so my fault, so I'll be talking about the rest of that catastrophe back there on open comment.
Okay. Any further comments or discussion?
Mr. Mayor?
Yep.
I stand corrected on this, but that I hear that Mr. Comas, they're going to possibly look into this area and that area and possibly make some kind of a form of an adjustment if possible.
We're going to check into it. Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay. Any further comments? Discussion? Not hearing any. Jen, will you take roll call?
Commissioner Waldner?
Aye.
Commissioner Wire?
Aye.
Commissioner Thel?
Aye.
Commissioner Shaw?
Aye.
Mayor Denner?
Aye. Item 3. Mike McGilvery's here. Mike, I will let you start off on item 3. Authorize the purchase of the playground equipment, pour in place rubber surfacing source well contract number 030117-LSI.
So a couple weeks ago, we approved or opened the bids for the concrete, and this goes hand in hand with that concrete bid. This is asking for your approval to purchase the playground equipment and the poured in place through actually it's through Dakota Playground, but Landscape Structures has got the Sourcewell contract. So, and it's through the state bid site or state pricing, and for the purchase price of $204,397.56.
Okay. Do I have a motion to authorize the purchase of the playground equipment and poured in place rubber surfacing source well contract number 030117-LSI?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. I do have a question for you, Mike.
Okay.
How much, I know we okayed it last week, how much was the concrete bid for?
Concrete was $31,500, I think, is right in there.
That's fine.
It's less than $32,000. We budgeted $235,700, I think, if I remember right, last year. So we'll be right at like 200. We'll be about $500 less than what we have budgeted.
30,908.
30,908. Okay, thank you, Commissioner Wire. And we also got 2 grants for this.
Correct.
One for $75,000.
$75,000 from the Land Water Conservation Grant, and then there's $17,060 from the Walmart Blue Cross grant.
About 90, almost 90-some thousand will come off of that, and then the rest is the cities, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Any further comment?
I just like to say thank you, Mike, that I know the grant process and
Kristen did a lot of the work. She's not
And
here to
Kristen.
take the credit, and everybody worked hand in hand. So hopefully everything, it's all going. The spokes in the wheel and everything are going now. So if the weather stays nice, the playground equipment will be here in 3 weeks. We'll install it, and we're hoping it has to have 4 days above 40-degree temperatures to install the foam and poured in place playground surfacing. So we're shooting for the first week of October, so we can, if Mother Nature stays decent, hopefully we have a playground by at least by Halloween completed.
Sounds like it's going to be cold, though. So we'll see what happens. Mike,
You saw the nice pretty color picture that was in the packet?
Yeah. It'll look really nice when it
Yeah.
gets in. It's awesome.
Mike, if you're going to be around till exec session, I got a question for you on something else, please.
Sure.
Okay. Is there any further comment, discussion? Not hearing any. Jen, will you take roll call?
Commissioner Thel?
Aye.
Commissioner Shaw?
Aye.
Commissioner Wire?
Aye.
Commissioner Waldner?
Aye.
Mayor Denner?
Aye. Commissioner Shaw will take item number 4, adopt resolution number 2020-23, amend establish employee compensation for 2020.
Okay. This ties into the HR position, how we're going to start that or re-advertise it. We moved it over to a step or a 21, and then we also moved the assistant finance up to a grade 20. So those were the two motions.
Do I have a motion to adopt the resolution number 2020-23, amend establish employee compensation for 2020?
So move.
Adam, I got one question. Is
Yep.
that starting at 21A?
A, 21A.
21A?
Yep.
And then on the assistant finance officer, if I'm just shooting out an example, if they were at like an 18B, it's going to go down to 20B, correct? Straight
Yep.
down?
Yep,
Okay.
straight down. And
Thank-
then we also will need to re-advertise because we changed the salary on it.
Okay.
Jen and I were going to meet and talk about that. So.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification there.
What position is that for HR?
HR.
Is there any further comments or discussion? Not hearing any. Jen, will you take roll call?
Commissioner Wallner? Aye. Commissioner Wire?
Aye.
Commissioner Shaw?
Aye.
Commissioner Bill?
Aye.
Mayor Denner?
Aye. Item 5 is Jen, accept modified fixed interest rates and authorize the mayor and finance officer to execute documents, First Bank and Trust, refund water revenue bond series 2013.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, you have got 7 pages of refunding water system surcharge documents in front of you. This is made possible by our friend Steve Hoagie out of the Brookings First Bank and Trust office, along with Toby Morris, was instrumental in assisting our local, John Canoose, and myself in making this happen. For page 1 of these documents are your refunding summary. Halfway down, you will see refunded and call dates. This is effective 9/1/2020, tomorrow. Our total cash flow savings, so our total savings amount due to this refunding is $61,082.96. Page 2 and page 3 of the schedule are our new debt service schedule. You will see the new coupon rate of 2.25%, which came down from 2.75%. It is a detailed listing of the biannual interest payments and the annual principal payments. Do note that the payoff date is still June 1st of 2028. Continuing on, page 4 is a pricing summary. Page 5 is a debt service comparison, listing your savings on the far right-hand column. Again, that ties out to the $61,000 in savings. And page 6 and page 7 are your debt service to maturity and call. Please note on page 6, your top line there, your refunded bonds, $2,045,692, along with refunded interest of $14,000. I did have to cut a check and walk it over today. We do have to pay that that interest from our last payment. So we had to pay $14,000 worth of bond interest from 6/1 until 8/31 through today. Our next interest payment, as you can see on the schedule, is only $11,000. So cut that in half. Okay? This is not, per my understanding, I don't think John is on, John Canoose. This is not a full bond refinancing like we often see, because that comes with a cost. This is more of a local, behind-the-scenes bond reprice. Therefore, it costs us nothing. So thank you to our friends at First Bank and Trust for working with us and showing us here a savings over the term of the rest of the bond for $61,000.
Do I have a motion to accept the modified fixed interest rates and authorize the mayor and finance officer to execute document First Bank and Trust refund Water Revenue Bond Series 2013.
So moved.
Second.
Any other comments or discussion? Time we can save some money, that's good. So, okay, Jen, take a roll call, please.
Commissioner Thel,
Aye.
Commissioner Shaw,
Aye.
Commissioner Waldner. Aye. Commissioner Wire.
Aye.
Mayor Denner.
Aye. Item 6. Chad, do you want to start the conversation or go right into Mike, or
Whatever you'd like.
we'll just go with Mike. Item 6, consider extension request for sidewalk improvement 2016 Lot 10 Ridger subdivision. Mike?
Okay, the first extension that I requested here is on the location of 1121 North Union Avenue. That's the lot that has the trailer house. I'm requesting an extension because September 13th, I'm planning on taking the trailer out, demolishing it. The trees are coming out, it'll be a bare lot. And to make me put the sidewalk in, we're gonna wreck the sidewalk.
Before you take the trailer out.
Correct.
Correct, okay.
And, you know, the plan is to put twin homes there. Right now, you know, sidewalks are running about $25 a running foot, and there's about approximately 95 feet, so that's 2,500 twice. It's kind of redundant to put it in, then just drive on it and tear it up. So that's what we're requesting on that one. You want to go to the second?
No, we'll
Nope.
take one at a time
Okay.
here. Do I have a motion to consider extension request for sidewalk improvement 2016 Lot 10 Ridger subdivision?
I'll make the motion.
If I may, I used consider. Are you looking to approve? Are you looking to deny? Do you want that to be part of your initial motion? Because I used consider.
In terms of, I mean,
If your motion is to consider it, do you just want to make that motion and then make another motion to either approve or deny later?
If you want to approve it or deny
all
it.
right, so I'll make a motion to approve the extension at the 1121 property.
Six of one, half dozen the other. It's okay.
Is it okay?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Second.
Sorry then.
Okay,
I want to talk.
Before we get to, I'm abstaining from this vote.
okay, did you get that?
Yes, sir. Thank
Okay,
you.
Can I talk now?
yep, we got a
Mike,
motion.
Mike, when are you planning to put the sidewalk in? So can we have a hard date on this? Like
It'd probably be in 2021.
okay,
You
so
know,
like if we set a date of May 31st to have the sidewalk in.
I don't think I can. What we want to do is put twin homes there.
Yep.
We're having a little trouble getting rid of the first two sets.
Sure.
We're hanging our hat on the college, and they're not here yet. There is interest in the twin homes. What I would like to do there, I would think next year sometime we'll be, putting basements in and what have you. I would just as soon not put a hard date on it, and then don't plan or don't get a basement dug until June or July.
So what if we put a hard date on it and said, if you're not at that point, you come back to us and ask for the extension again? I just think, it's been such a long time in reading the email chain. If we put a hard date on it and say, we want it done by this date, and you haven't started to dig your basements, if you come back to us. It would just be nice to be done with it, that's the thing, So can I amend my motion? Or can I just,
Is there a second?
there's a second.
Right,
Well, yeah, you could amend the motion.
Okay, so I want to amend the motion that we want to have the sidewalk put in place by June 1st, 2021. at the North Olive, 1121 North Olive property.
North of Union.
North Union, sorry.
That,
No.
there should be a second to that amendment.
June 1st, 2021.
June 1st, 2021.
I'll second it.
Okay. Well, is there any further comments or discussion?
I can probably give some additional background.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't know if you didn't want me to give any, or.
No,
wait.
no, you can.
Yeah, this was a sidewalk improvement from 2016. We coordinate with landowners and allow some flexibility, things come up, delays and such. And this has, and then Mr. Johnson, proceeded with some projects there by the twin homes that we referred to earlier. And of course, it made sense to allow the consideration for delaying that concrete in front of the twin home for sure, but then adjacent there too, because it's just right up the road, and so we did not object to that at that time. So with the upcoming project next year, this particular site, the 1121, shouldn't much affect pedestrian traffic if we need to get allow an opportunity for pedestrians to get down to, say, 9th Street if they need to walk. Deferring this one, I don't think is a big issue. We haven't had, getting to the general idea or the discussion of extensions, we've had them from time to time. Some informal, some it just drags into the following year typically. This one is a little bit longer than, I guess it is quite a bit longer than most. Most of them get done that second year and maybe carry on into a third year. But just to give you some perspective of my experience since we've been here doing this since, started a year before I got here, but then continued since 2004. But with that, I just thought I'd give some additional background of what this is about. Now, I should say too, excuse me, I did, talk to Mr. Johnson recently, last week actually, and after I had sent a letter a week or so prior to that, asking him to consider putting that sidewalk in, or in lieu of that, to come to the commission and get an extension. And so, and that letter preceded a similar such letter that came in late 2016 and another one in 2017 to try to keep the discussion going.
Thank you.
Yes. I stopped by your open house on Sunday. The two duplex condos that you have, they do look very nice, and I appreciate your expanding, making more affordable houses. I think the paper had it in it last week that we need more affordable housing. The street, that street doesn't go to a park or a school, so I am comfortable with the recommendation June 1st, and we'll see where we go on it.
And I also appreciate the fact that we're trying to expand and put housing in, and it's just one of those deals that these are always tough ones to have to deal with, and we understand that. And I wouldn't want you to have to put it in and then tear it back out and drag a trailer, but I fully understand that. So,
any further comment or discussion? Not hearing any. Jen, will you take roll call?
Commissioner Waldner.
Aye.
Commissioner Shaw.
aye.
Commissioner Thel.
Aye.
Commissioner Wire is going to abstain. Mayor Danner.
Aye. Item 7. We'll just consider extension request for sidewalk improvement 2016 Lot 6 rear subdivision. Mike, you want to?
Thank you. Yeah, we're requesting another extension for this. It's a vacant lot north of my house. There again, COVID, what the economy, whatever, has kind of got me a little bit, goofed up. We planned to, build condos there too, or twin homes there. In fact, ended up basically selling that lot to another LLC that I own in preparation to get the lot subdivided so it's away from my house, so it's separate. But there again, if I, put the sidewalk in now and tear it out, and technically, if we don't put twin homes in that particular lot next year, I'll put the sidewalk in. But there's a chance that we're gonna build 4, and I just don't wanna put the stuff in and have the deadline be this September 13th, and then we turn around and, May 1, we're, digging basements again and tearing them up. So that's what I'm requesting, an extension on that particular lot north of my house too. I have it on the west side of my house up to the lot line.
We have to have a motion to ask questions, David.
Yep.
We should.
Okay.
Do I have a motion to consider extension request for sidewalk improvement 2016 Lot 6 rear subdivision?
I'll make a motion.
Do you want to put a date on it?
That's why I want to ask questions, so I need them, that's the hard thing, is I can't really ask my questions without having.
We can amend it.
Yeah.
Fine. You gonna make the motion to?
I'll make the motion to extend it.
To extend it?
Yep.
I'll second it.
Okay. You can go ahead and ask.
Okay, so my first question, Chad, is when is the project gonna take place on? Is it 9th where we're gonna do the project?
Yeah, we're planning, scoping for a project to be on North Union, north of 9th Street. We haven't got to the point where we'll give completion deadlines and such, but we'll probably give most of 2021 to do the work. But once they start, it'll have to be completed within a period of time, probably 45 days or so is what we would give. So I can't say exactly when.
This one's a little more of a concern just because of is there a sidewalk on the west side of that road?
On the west side, yes.
There is sidewalk on the west side with the exception of the lot that Mr. Johnson talked about at the very north end where his trailer house is.
Okay.
There is not continuous sidewalk, again, as Mr. Johnson alluded to, the gap being just this lot in question here, immediately north of his residence.
That would be my only concern is the project going on North Union. So how do kids get from the rec building back down to 9th, where that sidewalk should be? Go ahead.
On the west side, or on the east side, pardon me, on the very north end of Union,
Yep.
where dead ends, there is sidewalk down to a Amert's apartment driveway.
Okay.
And you can walk east and then walk down, or, you can get on the sidewalk on the west side and walk all the way down to 9th Street. I mean, the amount of pedestrian traffic that we have is next to zip.
Sure. Well, and I understand that, but we're 4 years into this too. That's the other side of it. I mean, that's the hard part.
And I never intended it to drag on this long, but I've only got so many dollars to play with.
Sure.
And,
Yep. I'll amend my motion and we'll go back again to June 1, 2021, and hopefully by then you maybe have broken ground and got your basements dug and we have more affordable housing in town.
How long would you say it takes to do that project, Chad?
I would say anywhere between 45 to 60 days from the time they start to when it would be paved again.
Mr. Johnson, would you consider doing the the project on the front, the property north of your house before the one where your trailer is?
You're talking development.
Right, develop that quicker than the trailer one?
Well, I've been telling everybody that looks at the existing twin homes,
Yeah.
that's my next project.
Right.
That's, you know, I mean, things can
Just-
change, of course.
Just a question.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like from Chad, after talking with Chad, the one that's further north is probably not the real issue. It's the one north of your house.
Right behind your place.
Right. That's why I asked.
We, you know, I mean, I'm open to that, I'm not saying
Okay.
no.
Okay.
Right.
So we got a motion to extend the request for the sidewalk improvement 2016 Lot 6 rear subdivision for June 1st. Is that correct?
Correct. 2021.
2021, yeah. Is there any further comments or discussion?
I don't believe we have a second, do we?
Oh,
You got a second. Somebody
Yeah.
got a second.
yeah.
He's got a second.
Bob
amendment.
seconded it.
You did?
Bob seconded it.
Seconded the revised one, right?
Right.
Okay.
Is there any further?
Could I
Yep.
just
Yep.
ask Mr. Johnson, have you asked Mr. Amer anything about pedestrians possibly running them down through, have you had any conversations with him?
No, I haven't.
We probably can approach that or address the residents. There's only 2 houses north of those apartments, right?
Correct.
They could, we would,
And then,
if it's not done, we would probably just ask them to try to cross the project, you know, and just walk down the west side. Or through Amert Park, but I, you know, I don't want to tell them to cross private property unless there's consent.
Correct.
Right.
You know, does that
yeah,
make sense,
yeah.
though?
But I guess if need be, I mean, they can go across my backyard and tie right in with the sidewalk.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
that'd be an option.
It is public right of way. I mean, it's just not, it's not a paved path, paved sidewalk
Sure.
through it, so they could do that.
And to give you more information, the 2 houses north they don't have school kids.
Okay.
One's a widow and one's a house, a family that the kids are out of the house.
I just know we have some kids that are in the rec apartments above
Yeah.
you, so.
And to, what I've observed is they don't ever come down my side, they go across
Crossed
and down, but that, you know, that's a pig in a poke.
Yep.
Okay. Any further comments, discussion? Not hearing any. Jen, will you take roll call?
Commissioner Shaw?
Aye.
Commissioner Waldner?
Aye.
Commissioner Thel?
Aye.
Commissioner Wire will again abstain. And Mayor Denner.
Aye. Chad, do we have Banner on the line too? You know?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
We could, oh, that might be.
Chad, I'm on.
Okay,
Chad,
yeah.
this is Kristen, I'm on.
Okay. So, item number 8, Chad, if you want to start off, and then we can go with Kristen at Banner. Review and award bid water system improvement project, 750,000 gallon water tank tower.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Included in the agenda packet is a 2-page letter from Banner Associates signed by Pat Carey, a bid opening summary certified by also Pat Carey, and a life cycle cost analysis also certified by Mr. Pat Carey, a professional engineer with Banner Associates. So that's what's in the agenda packet. This was a bid for the water tower, Madison Water System Improvement, 750,000 gallon water tower. This is located in the Lakeview Industrial Park. There were 7 bidders on this project. That is included in the letter. If I may talk a little bit about the bid specifications and how they're written and how the evaluation of the bids were required to be considered, that would be very important here. And it's also explained by Banner Associates in their letter, but this this was a rural development project. When they allow you to bid a project to put up a water tower, you can't specify the type of water tower. So the common types that are competitive in this size, 750,000 gallons, are a spheroid, which is an entirely steel tower, much like the one we have in the northeast part of town. And the other one would be a composite tank, which would typically consist of a concrete pedestal and a steel bowl at the top. So again, rural development doesn't allow you to pick the type. They just say you have to bid it and leave open and fair competition. And so, given that, there is a procedure that has to be determined as to come up with how you'll compare tank style A, spheroid, and tank style B, a composite. And one way that has been used, is commonly used, say in electrical, award of electrical transformers and other infrastructure, is a life cycle cost analysis. All that is laid out in the bid specifications, so the bidding contractors know what the criteria are for analyzing the bid. So life cycle cost analysis includes things. The most significant item is typically painting. As you can imagine, with an entirely steel tower, painting the inside and outside over a 50-year life cycle of it adds up to more than the composite tower, which just has a steel bowl at the top. And so you take that into account and you tabulate these bids. The lowest life cycle cost analysis on this bid was Girard Tank and Steel out of Concordia, Kansas, and theirs was a spheroid tank. The second low was Caldwell Tanks out of Louisville, Kentucky. That was a composite tank. And so that's and so on and so forth. You'll see them tabulated in that order. You look at the far right column, the life cycle cost analysis. So in addition to that, and related to the bottom paragraph on the first page of the recommendation letter, Banner points out that some issues related to Girard Tank and Steel, that their bid may be considered non-responsive, and that would be experience requirements put into the specifications. In summary, the requirement was that the bidders had to have built 3 tanks of this size, and those have been in service for more than 10 years or more. And that's just a quick summary of it, but that's generally it. Kristen, correct me if I'm wrong in that. So it was determined that Girard Tank and Steel actually did not meet that experience requirement. My understanding is they've had 1 tank of this size in service since last year. And so that's why I made the comment earlier that it's likely that this bid should be considered non-responsive. That is the recommendation from Banner, and that whether it's an affirmative action or it's simply awarded to Caldwell Tanks, which is the recommendation, or it's simply awarded to Caldwell Tanks as not a non-affirmative action. That's up to, we'll probably talk to David a little bit about that and what the right way to do that is. So the net result of that, if we award the bid to Caldwell Tanks, is there's about a $430 larger capital cost up front for awarding to Caldwell Tanks because of their upfront price. But when you do the math, when you do the life cycle cost analysis, Caldwell Tanks is the next low tank. With that, I would offer the opportunity for Kristen Bisgard. She's an engineer for Banner Associates, to either correct anything I may have misstated or elaborate on the recommendation letter provided by Banner Associates.
I think you did a good job of summarizing it, Chad. I would like to point out that the 50 years life cycle analysis that we did, and the frequency of coding and the pricing that was used in the coding is all based on Adam Hansen is our structural engineer, and he's NACE certified, and all of those recommendations are supported through his documentation from NACE. And so we weren't just pulling numbers and coding frequencies and things like that out of the air. It's all supported by what's recommended by NACE. So, which is the NACE, I don't know if you're familiar or not, that's basically the rule book for coding systems. So, I guess, yeah, I can open it up for questions. If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Maybe, if I may, Mayor, Kristen, could you comment just briefly on the experience spec, the 3 tanks, 10 years or older, what your experience is with builders and why Banner had recommended putting in the specifications and the value of that, please?
Yeah, well, that's pretty standard terminology in our specifications. We've looked back and some of the specs that we've written, that's pretty common terminology. We don't feel like we're asking for anything above and beyond what would be normally expected. A 750,000 gallon tank for a spheroid is the top end. I mean, you see, most of them that you see when you're driving around the countryside are 500,000 gallon or less. Once you get to the 750 range, that's where you start making the jump from a spheroid to a composite. And so you don't see a whole lot of 750,000 spheroid tanks. And so that was a concern. Obviously, we want somebody that has experience building tanks of that size. That experience requirement was the same for composite and spheroid, no matter or regardless of the tower style. That was the same experience requirement in both parts of that specification.
Thank you. The only other comment I would make then would be there's an alternate included in the bid, and that would be for a more decorative logo to be put onto the tank, utilizing the Madison logo that the chamber had developed with the sailboat as the letter A. The alternate that you would have to decide tonight whether to award or not. That cost for that alternate to put 2 logos in, one on each side of the tank, or as otherwise directed by the engineer, or by the city. There's 2 of them bid. That would be an additional $12,700. I think that's the number, right? Yeah, $12,700. So you would have to decide that. If you decide to opt against it, there will be the name Madison included on the tank in just our larger block letters. I did share with you some couple plan sheets that showed a description of the sizes of those and the colors. I have some copies here. Unfortunately, I didn't print them in color. But anyway, so you'd have to decide that tonight as well if you want that on. If you reject the alternate, we still get our name on the tank twice. It's just more of the block letters like you see on the northeast tank. So yeah.
I'll just point out that's a requirement for rural development. They won't allow anything above and beyond standard block lettering. So single color, no frills type of lettering. So that's what would be approved by rural development. So anything above and beyond that you would want that's why that would be the city's responsibility if you want your logo on.
Yes, thank you. And then finally, this bid would have, if you so choose to award it tonight, it would have to be included in the motion. I would recommend the bid would be awarded contingent upon rural development's concurrence with this, because they'll take your action here and they have to provide concurrence of the funding agency.
So item 8, do I have a motion to review and award bid water system improvement project 750,000 gallon water tower with the continued concurrence with Banner?
Yeah, and if you want, you could put into the same motion whether or not you want to award the alternate or not. Probably, David, they could put that all in the same motion. Sure. They could say award, including or excluding the alternate, all concurrent upon Artie's, all contingent upon Artie's concurrence.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion that we just just do what Chad said and accept the alternate bid for the design on the water tower at the $12,000, $12,700.
Got a motion
Can I
and a second.
ask a question now?
Yep, you can ask.
Chad, when we put the logo on the tower, which side of the tower is it gonna go on? Can we specify?
We can.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah,
Just
we'll have two
where it's
places.
gonna be at.
It's gonna be, we'll coordinate and make it so it's most visible for traffic. It's near that hotel, it's a couple hundred feet to the south, the hotel kind of near where the shrimp site is,
Okay.
and that's kind of where it is, back behind the Integra building.
Yep.
So regardless, we'll put it in so that, the traffic
we
can
can
see
see
it
it, yep.
coming on Highway 34, maybe from the Prestrello,
Yep.
what we refer to as the Prestrello corner.
I was hoping that we
Yeah.
could go on like an east-west side
Yeah.
of that tower if we do.
So, yes, short answer is we can pick where we want.
You wanted to go out on a limb for the school, you could put the Bulldog logo on it.
Yeah, wouldn't that be awesome? I probably better not make that anymore.
Okay. Any further comments or discussion?
The tank capacity, the variation, is that just design, Chad, in the different bids?
Yeah, Kristen, did you hear that? Did you want to address that?
Yep. Every manufacturer has their own standard methods for construction. And so, we say 750,000 gallons. As you can see, they range from 742,000 to 753,000. And we allow that because we don't want to make them do anything custom. So we want them to use whatever their standard design methods are to build this tower. So that's pretty common.
Hey, Chad,
Yes, sir.
what would it cost to put the Bulldog logo and DSU logo on it?
Yeah, thank you.
We're doing a special logo anyway, and we're spending $12 grand for it. Why not?
Yeah, that's a good question. And Commissioner Wire and myself talked about that some. Short answer is I don't know what the cost would be. We would, if you wanted to pursue that, I would say what you would probably have to do is reject the alternate, and then we would have to go through a change order process, a negotiation to add that, and with the contractor of the tank contractor. There may be some side negotiations if the city wants to try to recoup some costs from DSU or the school, the high school, or not, and then you'd be subject to whatever that price would be. I'm trying to recall, during the bidding process, we just had too many balls in the air that we didn't open negotiations with the high school, or excuse me, the school district or DSU to try to also add that into it. I don't know how RD would have reacted to that. Maybe Kristen has a thought on that, but regardless, that's how I would envision we'd have to pursue that if we wanted to add DSU.
Let me ask it this way then, if it helps, is that we can let it roll tonight, but I'd like to know how much it would cost to add those two items, and maybe incorporate it with the Madison logo and everything, and just so that we know. And then as we get to that point or closer to that point, we can always bring it back here to the commission and we can vote again on it.
Change order.
Or if it's
Yeah, we'll put a
outlandishly
change order.
too much, then we don't bring it back at all either. So, but if it doesn't cost a whole lot more or doesn't cost any more, then we got some decisions to make. But
Yeah, that we can definitely do that. Now, the idea is we could use this more decorative one, the one that's included in the motion already, the $12,700 one. But then we could approach the contractor, and Kristen, correct me if I'm wrong, and ask them for a price to add, whether it's Madison Central School District logos, and probably a second alternate to add a DSU logo. We could add that and ask them. Of course, we'd have to have some correspondence and consent from rural development ultimately as well for that. But yeah, Kristen, that's something we could request after the bid award here? Yeah.
I think if you're quite certain that you want to move forward with, I think if you're certain you want to move forward with some sort of logo besides block lettering, I think I would award the $12,700 tonight so that you have them locked in at that. Otherwise, in the change order process, things can get muddled.
We're way
so I
too
would at
far
least
afield
lock
here,
in
and I've got some
and then we can
concerns.
go to
We
them
need
and
to
say,
award
okay,
that,
well, what if we
change
wanted
or
to
not
change one of
award it,
those logos
like
out, or
Gary
what if
Chin
we
told
wanted
us
to do
later.
this or
The
that? And then I
conversation
think,
should actually
we can
stop.
do that through an RFP
All right.
process. But I guess that'd probably be my recommendation, and just see if they would stick to that same price if you had just two different logos, or if we completely change the logo altogether to something different.
Okay.
I would encourage the commission to just deal with
Yep.
the lettering issue tonight, and we will address possible future change orders at a later time.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah,
That-
that's what I would recommend.
That's what we got for a motion, and we got a second. Any further comment? Not hearing any. Jen, will you take roll call vote?
Commissioner Waldner,
Aye.
Commissioner Wire,
Aye.
Commissioner Thel,
Aye.
Commissioner Shaw,
Aye.
Mayor Denner.
Aye. Anything on update on COVID-19?
Obviously, if you watch the news, we've had a massive influx in the state of South Dakota, and it's not slowing down, so
Yep.
continue to be cognizant of that, please.
Okay. And go into public comment. We got Pat Mullen, and your description or your topic.
Okay, I've talked about a little bit about the street issue and the grade already.
Yep.
Now, when the city came in and the electrical department, and they completely destroyed the end of our blacktop. And to the south, with the recent rains, now you have people can't even go to the right because of the tremendous amount of erosion. So you have one little area you can go to the left, and then I mentioned before that the grade is different, and at the time the city electrical department was there and excavating at the end of the driveway, I talked to the foreman. Oh, we'll come back and get it all squared away for you. Well, as of yet, this has not materialized.
This is on Division
Yes,
again.
sir. We have our driveways are in the back, our garages are in the back of our condos, and excuse me, and we exit onto Division and either go north or south. And the south side is more deplorable than the north. We're trying to improve the overall looks, I guess you could say, of our association up there. We've got some changes coming, and tore out fence in the back, and we're putting in different fence back there, which we have a building permit already issued. But I guess I'm saying is that the electrical department hasn't held their word. I believe my niece has emailed Mr. Comas. Am I right?
Yes, we have about the grade, yep.
Yep, and also about what to do with the extra asphalt or something. I don't know how valid that is or not. But anyway, right now, if we don't change the grade of the street, we're gonna have to cut back a little bit more into our area and make a more gradual slope, or something has to be done. Because the city sure didn't, the electrical department, I'll put the electrical department on notice on this one. They have not done squat. And I don't remember when the exact date they were in there. It was in August sometime, probably mid-August, or earlier. So, and that was when they had you were
Okay.
But anyway, do appreciate it if you would address that, look into it. We have one lady that has a little car, and as she goes through that thing, it's like a tank trap. I drive a pickup, so it's not so bad for me. So, anyway,
All right.
thank you guys, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Wire, did you want to talk to Brad, or I can?
I was
about
just
it?
getting the address here to
Okay.
kind of look at it even.
It's Oakwood Condo East, use my address, it's 831.
It's on the south side there.
Yes, sir. And it's actually on the south side of the road on Center Street, and then it goes, this exit on Division Avenue. And my address is middle one, 831.
Okay.
Then they, okay?
All right, thank you.
Yep.
No other public comment. We'll go into announcement. The only announcement we have is to remember to change the meeting date from September 7th to September 8th, right?
Labor Day weekend, yes, please.
Okay,
So it would be Tuesday.
right. Any other announcements? Not hearing any. Do I have a motion to go into exec?
So approved.
Second.
All in favor signify by aye.
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 Aye. All opposed? Thank you.